Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be looking at this Mark I 2005 Volvo XC90. It's the 2.5 liter 5-cylinder turbocharged engine. Customer complaint is that it just seems to have a lack of power intermittently, runs well, but just doesn't seem to have the get up and go, which we've road tested and verified. It's almost like you're hitting a wall, like the turbo isn't really doing anything. So let's dig in and see what we can find. Okay, so we checked all the codes. There's no codes. We've watched the misfire counters. There's no misfires. The mass airflow sensor, the variable cam timing stuff is all where it's supposed to be. Fuel pressure is good. Checked on the actual gauge versus the rail pressure sensor. It all seems to line up. So we checked for vacuum leaks. Don't see any vacuum leaks, but what we did find is very interesting. We found a boost pressure leak at the hot side of the intercooler pipe. Let me show you. I get this camera down in here. Right here, where this plastic tube meets the rubber hose that goes down to the intercooler. There's this flap right here. Intermittently will make a whistling sound, but it's kind of hard to catch. I tried catching it on the camera here, but it won't. So we're going to go ahead and replace this hose. They're highly problematic. They get really squishy and oil soaked over time because of the little bit of oil that's in the intercooler tubes that Volvo says is normal. So we're just going to go ahead and replace that and see what changes, see what happens. So to start, we're going to loosen up some bolts. Obviously, we're going to remove this piece here. There's two 8mm bolts. This tube goes down and attaches into the air filter housing. So wiggle and a pull and it'll come out. Then we're going to loosen up this upper tube with the T25 that's right here and right here. First, we're going to remove our dipstick because we don't want to break the end off or the handle off. And then we'll get to the clamp here and then one further down on the intercooler, which is a little difficult to get to, and I'll show you a pro tip for that. So we're going to remove these T25 screws. There's two of them. I've already pre-loosened them, but pull this one out. These ones out too. Then we'll do our clamps. I've already undone the bottom clamp. It was kind of a pain. I'll show you the clip from that and a pro tip a little bit later, just a minute. Once that's all off, you should be able to lift the plastic tube out of the way while holding it with one hand. Grab here, pull the tube out, get this hose out of here. This oily, floppy, gross tube. And here was, right here, was our holes. These yellow cords you shouldn't be able to see. So that's definitely the problem. There's also a tear right there too. So we had two things happening here. And this is just squishy and oil soaked. Doesn't appear to be any oil actually in the tube. A little bit, I guess. So anyways, that's that. We'll get the new one on and go for a drive, see how it works. So this hose clamp is very difficult to get to because sometimes it touches the wall. There's a bolt that goes here and here. There's the locating pins for the radiator. When you pull them out, they look like this. They have like a point at the bottom. If you remove both of those, you can then push the radiator forward a little bit and it gives you more clearance so you can get a socket on it. Just a quick tip because they're kind of a pain sometimes. So here's our new hose that we're going to be putting on. I just wanted to mention that some of these, depending on the brand you get, have a fixed, this clamp that keeps the clamp in a fixed position, which is nice for convenience. On this end that's okay, but on this end where it goes against where it goes onto the intercooler, they always put the clamp in the wrong spot and it always goes right up against the metal plate for the structure for the headlight, and it's extremely difficult to put back on. So I take it off so I can position it in a more convenient place for me to put on. So there's just another tip. If that makes it easier for you, awesome. If you like it where it's at, that's great too. So another little pro tip This clamp is kind of tough to get to, and it's kind of hard to see down here with the light. It does help or not. But I don't know if you see this, but I'm going through the hole for the latch for the hood. So I have my clamp oriented so I can get a long extension and a wobbly down in there, down on it. I'll try and get a closer shot here. So here we have it. My extension's through the hole by the hood latch, right here, going down. I'm right on that clamp, and it's just much easier to tighten and loosen it from right here than where they want me to. I pulled the headlight out for ease of access, but that's not something you have to do, just for filming. But I'm going to go ahead and tighten this all the way down, and I'll put the rest of it back together, and we'll go from there. One other thing I wanted to mention too was when putting these screws back into the plastic tube here and over here, it's best if you start with this one first, get it in a couple threads, and then put this one in. This one will line up a lot easier, and you won't cross thread the threads. So after our road test, it made a huge difference. So it turns out all that boost pressure the turbo was putting out just wasn't making it to the throttle body. Anyways, hope that helps you out if you guys are having issues like that. It's a pretty easy job to do. Just take your time, and like I say, that lower clamp on the intercooler can fight. It's kind of a pain, but just make sure you get all the bolts tight, and you should be good. All right, thanks again.